Good morning. Good morning, everybody. And welcome to our 90th anniversary celebration. I'm Debbie Caldwell. I'm the publisher and CEO of RNS. And I just want to thank you all so much for coming today. It's just been overwhelming to see so many friends and old friends and associates and meet new people, and I'm just thrilled that you're here, so thank you. So what are we doing here today? We're gathering to honor 90 years of RNS journalism, but we're also going to be looking at current trends across the religious landscape, and we're going to look at the future of journalism, especially religion journalism. But first, I'd like to take you back in time to the era when RNS was founded. It was 1934, the height of the Depression with bread lines in the cities, and the Western Dust Bowl destroying millions of acres of farms. The great migration of African Americans fleeing Jim Crow laws in the South was underway. But there was also exhilaration about pop culture and the emergence of a modern world. The first demonstration of television was held in Philadelphia. The first LP record was released that year, and Babe Ruth played his final game at Yankee Stadium. There was also fear. Overseas that year, Hitler declared himself the dictator of Germany. And in cities and towns nationwide, the Ku Klux Klan had been surging, denouncing African Americans, Catholics, Jews, and organized labor. In 1934, everywhere you looked, the world seemed to be changing in unprecedented ways. Sometimes it felt exhilarating, other times it felt terrifying. But in the face of all of this, an immigrant from London named Louis Minsky saw possibilities. And here I'd like to give a shout out to Alicia Kaufman, who you will be hearing from soon. She's a professor at Baylor. She's on our first panel. She's also writing a history of RNS, and she gave me some of the story that you're about to hear. I'm also delighted that Richard Minsky, Louis's son, is with us today. And we're so grateful to Richard for helping to teach us more about his father and his vision, and you'll hear from him tonight at the dinner. So, Louis Minsky's family belonged to the Jewish diaspora that fled Russia in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. His parents left for London to escape pogroms. There, Louis was born in 1909. In 1914, his father, a carpenter, settled in New York. Later, Louis and his two sisters sailed to New York to join him. According to family lore, at age 13, he used money he had saved to buy a typewriter, but his father threw it out the second-floor window, convinced that his son should become a carpenter rather than putting on airs and aspiring to be a writer. But Louis kept writing. By the time he was 21, he was writing for Jewish publications in New York and London, and he was living in Brooklyn. Meanwhile, all across the country, anti-Semitism, racism, and anti-Catholicism continued to rise. And in response, leading statesmen and intellectuals in New York began organizing the National Conference of Christians and Jews. Their goals: combat religious hatred, promote religious freedom and tolerance. At around the same time, Louis Minsky had an idea. Why not start a news bureau to cover religion, all religions? So he approached the NCCJ, and they agreed to fund it. They reasoned that if Americans could learn more about each other's faiths and traditions, they would be less fearful of each other. And religious pluralism, they said, was good for democracy. So with the support of the NCCJ, Minsky began traveling the country, selling newspaper editors all over on the idea of RNS. By the late 1940s, the staff served about 125 daily newspapers and 200 radio and TV stations. Its subscribers included far-flung local newspapers, as well as national outlets like the New York Times, Newsweek, Time, and Life. In those years, RNS covered the world's reckoning with the Holocaust, the rise of post-war national and international church organizations like the World Council of Churches, and later the Civil Rights Movement. And I urge you during the day to view the beautiful display of our civil rights coverage in Bateman Lounge that was created by the Presbyterian Historical Society, which houses our archives in Philadelphia, and thank you to them so much. Sorry. So in the recent past, RNS has covered women's rights, gay rights, anti-apartheid movement, 9/11, America's growing religious diversity, its increasing secularism, the racial reckoning, and war in the Middle East, and many, many other topics, too numerous to name. So here we are in 2024, 90 years after our founding. We are once again living in a time that feels unprecedented. There's excitement about artificial intelligence, robots, the metaverse, but there's also a lot of fear about climate change, migrants crossing the southern border, wars overseas. It all seems so overwhelming. But that's not the whole picture. Then, as now, where there is division, people are working together to unite each other. Then, as now, where there is hatred, people are trying to understand each other. Then, as now, where there is misinformation, people are using facts to tell the truth. So as we gather here today, I can assure you that while we are in transitional times, we are not in unprecedented times. Louis Minsky's insight was that journalism could educate and enlighten average people, people who were struggling to grasp the enormous changes happening around them. And those changes were in no small part driven by increasing religious and ethnic diversity, the same as today. So today at RNS, we uncover and expose misdeeds and hatred committed in the name of religion, but we also shine a light on goodness. We cover faith communities that are a vibrant part of civic life. We believe this coverage helps people build empathy for their neighbors. Then, as now, RNS explained a confusing world through the lens of religion. Sometimes inspiring, often infuriating, always fascinating. Then, as now, our journalism makes a difference.